Welcome back to the Daily Roast Radio. Today, we explore what it truly means to commit to a job, apparently until the universe ends.
Oh, Joe, you're spoiling the big reveal. But yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jane, and that's Joe, and we're here to sift through the afternoon's absolute madness.
Madness is certainly one word for it. Perhaps existential dread disguised as corporate innovation would be more accurate.
Always the optimist, Joe. But he's not wrong. We've got judges suing for cosmic tenure, publishers embracing our AI overlords, and a farm selling E. coli as Euphoria.
Just another Tuesday, really. A very, very long Tuesday.
Calendar says Monday, 30 March 2026. The clock says 15:12. And yes, we are very much on the air, despite what Joe's internal clock might be telling him.
Weather desk reports partly cloudy, 8C feels like 6C, wind 6 kilometers per hour. So if your plans involved optimism, maybe reschedule, or at least bring a very thick coat of cynicism.
It's always a Tuesday somewhere, isn't it? A Tuesday that feels like it's been stretched across an entire cosmic epoch. So grab your beverage of choice, preferably one that hasn't been pre-digested for you, and let's dive into the headlines.
First up, from the hallowed halls of justice, Federal Judge 98 sues Supreme Court for job back, argues lifetime tenure means until humanity's psychic evolution.
A 98-year-old judge wants to redefine lifetime tenure as until humanity's psychic evolution? Joe, is this a joke? Because my jaw just hit the floor.
Apparently, her legal team argues that lifetime implies the full potential duration of a human soul, which, in her interpretation, is tied to the collective spiritual advancement of our species. So no, not a joke. She's serious.
I mean, I respect the ambition, but that's a new level of judicial activism. What exactly triggered this sudden cosmic interpretation of her employment contract? Did she have an out-of-body experience during a particularly dull probate case?
Indeed. She's claiming her contract extends beyond biological limits, citing a cosmic commitment she apparently made upon taking the bench. Constitutional scholars are reportedly consulting ancient Sumerian tablets and quantum physicists to determine if the heat death of the universe counts as retirement age. They're also checking the fine print for any clauses about becoming a sentient nebula.
Sumerian tablets? Quantum physicists? So basically, she's arguing that lifetime means until we all evolve into pure energy and her gavel turns into a thought form? My grandma just wants to nap. This judge wants to preside over the multiverse. Does this mean we'll need to upgrade our courtrooms for zero-gravity hearings?
According to Dr. Aristotle, professor of esoteric jurisprudence, this case could set a precedent where future judges might demand positions on interstellar arbitration panels. We're talking about legal briefs filed from the Orion Nebula, complete with holographic evidence from galactic civil disputes. Imagine the discovery process.
I can barely imagine paying for parking at the courthouse, let alone the interstellar filing fees. Well, good luck to her, I guess. I just hope her robe fits in a spaceship. Moving on from legal eternity to AI eternity, publishers Halt AI detection efforts, announced new Algorithmic Affinity Imprint because humanity was overrated anyway.
The global publishing industry has officially thrown in the towel. They're launching Nexus Narratives exclusively for AI-written books. Turns out, bots don't demand artisanal coffee or have existential crises.
Or ask for advances. What a brilliant dystopian business model.
Exactly. The CEO of Parnassus Press stated, "Why pay for human angst when you can generate perfectly structured narratives that meet market demands with 100% efficiency? Humanity was frankly a logistical nightmare."
Right? My old editor used to say, Jane, you're costing us a fortune in therapy lattes. I guess AI authors just generate their own emotional support algorithms. It's a 340% profit boost, Joe. Think of the shareholders.
A perfectly optimized, human-free literary ecosystem. What could go wrong? Other than every book sounding exactly the same, but with slightly different character names. Next, human authors will be trying to write like algorithms, adding syntactic efficiency to their resumes and aiming for peak data points.
I remember when I was a culture reporter, we spent weeks just trying to verify if a tweet was written by a person or a particularly witty bot. Now it's a whole genre. Dr. Bitesmith, CEO of Literary Ledger AI, says, why struggle with humanity's messy narratives when you can have perfectly predictable prose? We're cutting out the middleman, which, in this case, is man.
He really just said the quiet part out loud, didn't he? I guess we'll all be reading the literary equivalent of elevator music soon. From the perfectly predictable to the alarmingly persuasive. Our next story, Emails show agents' heroic efforts to fulfill clients' every whim, now a corporate best practice case study.
The alcohol protocol, where morally ambiguous actions are rebranded as hyper-attentive client advocacy. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that it involves begging Jeffrey Epstein to have sex with models.
Indeed. This protocol emerged from a series of leaked emails detailing an agent's unwavering commitment to client desires, however outlandish or ethically dubious. It's being taught in business schools as a masterclass in unconventional problem solving.
Unconventional is one word for it. So basically, if your client wants the moon, you don't just promise it. You start looking for a rocket and a really good ladder, and maybe a few favors from some questionable characters.
A truly revolutionary approach to emotional leverage. Experts are hailing it as a paradigm shift. Soon, HR departments will be giving out alcohol badges for commitment to client satisfaction, no matter the ethical cost. I imagine a platinum tier for those who manage to avoid jail time.
It's like The Wolf of Wall Street meets How to Win Friends and Influence People, if the latter was written by a particularly unhinged algorithm. Dr. Phil Anthropy, head of ethical leverage, stated, "It's not about crossing lines, it's about discovering where the lines aren't, and then exploiting that void for maximum profit, I'm sure."
An admirable philosophy if you happen to be a shark, or apparently a corporate training guru.
And now a brief message from the Daily Roast.
If you're enjoying this delightful descent into the absurd, remember, you can catch the Daily Roast Radio every day. Get fresh satire stories and check out our weekly top list. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Because sometimes you just need to laugh at the impending apocalypse. All right, where were we? Oh yes, health food. Raw Farm announces new immune-boosting strain of E. coli, calls symptoms pre-digestion euphoria.
Pre-digestion euphoria? And internal spring cleaning for kidney failure? The CEO delivered a press conference via interpretive dance. I can't even. Are we sure he wasn't just experiencing his own product?
The company claims this specific strain, dubbed E. coli optima, is part of a holistic gut biome recalibration. They even suggest the rapid expulsion of bodily fluids is a sign of your system detoxing at an accelerated rate.
Well, that's one way to spin it. I bet their marketing team got a bonus for that rebranding effort.
9 individuals, including one with kidney failure, are experiencing this digestive recalibration event. They've even launched a gut-wrenching rewards tier for hospitalized customers, promising branded IV drips and complimentary bedpans.
A rewards tier for hospitalization? That's a new low, even for corporate greed. Honestly, I once ate a hot dog from a street vendor that gave me pre-digestion euphoria, but we just called it food poisoning. It reminds me of that disastrous newsroom potluck where someone brought artisanal yogurt that turned out to be just old milk.
Ah, yes, the yogurt incident, good times. Guru Gristle, founder of Inner Gut Enlightenment, claims this isn't illness, it's your body achieving peak vibrational frequency through rapid expulsion, clearing out negative energy blockages. He also endorsed the interpretive dance, calling it a visceral expression of cellular liberation.
Visceral expression of cellular liberation. I'm going to start using that whenever I get a bad stomachache. It sounds much more profound. Next, a show so torturous the UN had to step in. UN declares Last One Laughing a psychological atrocity, mandates emotional sanctuary zones for former contestants.
Yes, the UN has reclassified the popular reality show as a Level 3 psychological atrocity, putting it in the same category as prolonged sleep deprivation. Contestants are now eligible for international protection for compulsory mirth suppression syndrome. Turns out it was Project Silent Chuckle, a covert tech experiment designed to test the limits of human emotional control.
A covert tech experiment to control human emotions? And all this time I thought it was just bad improv and awkward silences? No wonder so many former contestants look like they've seen things. I mean, not laughing for hours while others try to make you laugh sounds like actual torture. Who would greenlight such a thing?
The project's lead scientist, Dr. Evelyn Chuckle, claimed it was for science. The goal was to quantify the breaking point of human stoicism. Turns out it's about 2 hours, 5 minutes, and a rubber chicken.
2 hours and 5 minutes? I barely last that long at a family dinner.
Dr. Mirth Aspression, lead therapist at the UN's Emotional Sanctuary Zones, stated, "The inability to laugh, even in the face of extreme absurdity, leads to profound existential despair. We're seeing cases of phantom giggles, chronic smirk tics, and a deep-seated inability to enjoy knock-knock jokes."
Phantom giggles? That's just sad. I hope they get all the therapy lattes they need.
From psychological torture to perpetual hope and disappointment in sports, Spurs announce revolutionary permanent manager initiative. Zerbi confirms lingering sense of déjà vu.
Tottenham Hotspur, defining permanent in a way only they can. They're trying to hire Roberto De Zerbi, who's already demanding an emotional regulation chamber and a sarcasm-proof coaching vest as part of his contract. Smart man, he knows what he's getting into. Permanent for Spurs usually means until the next international break. I heard De Zerbi's contract includes a clause for a personal therapist and a direct line to a spiritual guru. They've even rebranded the role as Head of Tactical and Emotional Investment, or HTEI.
Yes, the HTEI. It now includes a mandatory 6-month sabbatical for emotional detoxification and a clause indemnifying the manager from any fan-related mental anguish.
Honestly, Joe, my predictions for their season used to be so confident, but then one year I bet big on a manager lasting more than Christmas, and, well, let's just say my office pool reputation still hasn't recovered. I've sworn off predicting anything Spurs-related.
A limited experience for every new hire. Coach Never Say Never Again Stevens, a veteran football strategist, commented, Spurs' definition of permanent changes more often than their formation. It's less a job, more a highly paid sabbatical with an optional public shaming.
I bet he'll still take the job, though. They always do. It's the allure of the impossible, or perhaps just a very generous severance package. Finally, the biggest news of all. Pope Leo XIV stuns world. God actually more of a lover, not a fighter, says the Vatican, citing newly discovered footnote.
A newly discovered footnote in ancient texts confirming God has never justified war. This theological clarification has caused morale drops in active conflicts, devastated the arms industry, and led to a global surge in impromptu peace rallies.
Oh, so all those holy wars, crusades, and divinely inspired conflicts? Just a clerical error? For millennia? The Vatican established a pontifical office for divine disavowal to issue retroactive apologies for all the misinterpretations. I want to know who found this footnote. Was it an intern cleaning out a dusty archive?
Almost. Cardinal Veritas, head of the pontifical office, said it was in the margin of a particularly dusty scroll, tucked behind a forgotten lunch receipt from the 3rd century. Next to a doodle of a smiling dove, a small annotation simply read, LOL, no fighting. Apparently, we've been misinterpreting divine intent for millennia.
LOL, no fighting. That's it? After all that? My goodness. So it turns out God just wanted everyone to hug it out. Well, that certainly changes a few history textbooks. What a day. And what an epic clerical error.
Indeed. From cosmic tenure and AI literature to divine footnotes and questionable health drinks, it's been a truly enlightening afternoon.
And slightly concerning. A reminder that humanity is doing its best to out-absurd itself every single day. But that's all the time we have for this afternoon edition of the Daily Roast Radio.
Join us again this evening for more news, more roasts, and probably more questionable corporate practices. Until then, stay skeptical.
And try not to catch any pre-digestion euphoria. Or try to define your job as until humanity's psychic evolution. We'll see you later.